Good morning. Welcome to CAASPP Testing PD. Today we're going to be talking about best practices and test monitoring. On our agenda for today, we have goal one is opt-outs. We're going to talk a little bit about opt-outs, medical and parental opt-outs, and then the procedure if you do have an opt-out. Goal two is prep. Again, a little bit of information about SSID numbers, charts and reference sheets, and then do's and don'ts for your students' test prep areas. Goal three, test day. Best practices for testing day, scripts, how to start a test session, scheduling test sessions. Debbie's going to show us how to do that today. This is something new to me. It's very helpful. Adding additional tests to a session, and then test monitoring. And then in order to keep our time here today a little bit brief, we do have another read-only section, SPED and 504 accommodation questions, suggested order of tests, scratch paper disposal, testing incidents, and then expiration timeframes for tests. And then there is a survey that we kindly ask you all to fill out when you're done with the read-only portion. And we will get these slides out to you, or your IA will, this afternoon, so that you have a chance to review what we go over here today and then do the read-only and respond to that survey. Oops. Sorry, the wrong direction. There we go.
Okay, so for testing opt-outs, if you have a parent that is talking about, is testing mandatory? What are options? We want you to find out their concerns. Maybe so there's something that you can do to alleviate their reluctance to a test. So have those conversations. I know that some of them can be difficult, but we just want to find out what their reasoning is, what's going on. Is it a personal preference? Is it more medical? So there are two types. So we do offer, we would like you to offer to demonstrate a training test. You can also offer test resources such as the typing.com and the CAASPP practice test to make the student more comfortable, so that they are used to the devices and everything once they do start a testing session. And it's not just the day of that this is the first time that they're seeing it. You can offer an in-person testing experience. Our test prep parties are wonderful, but not everyone is able to attend those. So we would like you as HSTs to go ahead and offer those experiences. Offer shorter testing times, frequent breaks, less stressful test experience. If they're still saying that they want to opt out, you can remind them that the CAS test is required by the state of California. Remind them that as a charter school, we must require testing or we do risk losing our charter. Remind them that the parent-student handbook mandates it. So when they sign that ISA, it does have it in there that they will participate in state testing. And then reach out to your IA if you feel that you need more help having those conversations after completing all of these other things.
Okay, testing opt-outs part two. If after, going through all of those resources, you do end up with a testing opt-out, as Debbie had said, there are two different kinds. There's a medical opt-out and then a parental opt-out. So for medical opt-outs, an MD, a medical doctor, must provide a note stating that that student is unable to participate in state testing due to medical reasons. The note needs to be for the current testing year. For parent opt-outs, and we just put in parentheses as a reminder, after much discussion and a conversation with your IA, get a parent letter, usually in the form of an email. Option one, which you can let the families know, is an alternate test, which is done in person during the last week of school. Option two, they are not invited back for the following school year. Go
ahead.
The procedure for opt-outs. When you do get one of those opt-outs, you're going to email your IA and testing@cottonwoodk12.org and attach that letter, whether it's a medical or a parental. The process is the same for either one. Update the organizational spreadsheet and attach a note to pathways in the student dashboard. Scroll down to student notes, and then you want to title it 2026 CAASPP medical opt-out and attach the note in there so that it's easily accessible.
Or if it's a parent opt-out, exchange the word parent for
Oh,
medical.
good point. Thank you. We should have put that in. And here's just a graphic below to remind you of where that is down in student notes.
Briefly, SSID numbers. The HST can communicate SSID numbers to the families during a Zoom meeting by mail, phone, in person. Please do not text or email the SSID numbers. CAST charts and reference sheets. The HST can provide the following charts and reference sheets to a student who will be taking the CAST. The general charts that are available for 5-8 and high school, although these are math sheets, they cannot be used on the math portion, the CAST only. So there's the multiplication chart, there's the hundreds
Cross
hundreds
is easier to get out.
table chart. Sorry, I had to mute someone. Science, they would have a specific reference sheet. So they're grade 8, there is their reference sheet, or if they're in high school, there are their reference sheets. So make sure that you pay attention to that, that you're not giving your high schooler the grade 8 one.
Then switching gears a little bit, do's and don'ts for student test prep areas. And be sure to discuss these with your families prior to testing. We're not at their homes. Usually we don't necessarily see the room where they are doing most of their school activities. And it's just a reminder to parents that things that they might see every day, they may not even, or that might be present in the testing room, they may not even realize shouldn't be in there for test day. So items that are allowed are the testing device, either a school-issued Chromebook, a laptop, or desktop with the secure browser installed, wired headphones, and water. Items not allowed, cell phones and smartwatches. These must be off and stored away. Personal electronics, tablets, cameras, or any device capable of recording or especially accessing the internet. And this is kind of a big one, instructional materials. No posters, maps, charts, or formulas on desks or walls that could provide answers. They may have, a math chart up on the wall in the testing room, and that would come in really handy to a third grader who's taking the CAST test for the first time. So just reminding them that things that they take for granted they may have hung up a year and a half ago might actually be something that a student should not have in a testing room. And then bags or backpacks. Those should be placed away from the testing area.
Best practices for testing day. Just to highlight a few things, make sure that your students log into your Zoom from a secondary device, such as a phone, not their testing device. Remind parents to provide wired headphones. No Bluetooth headphones are allowed, and hold test sessions in a quiet, distraction-free area. Scratch paper for all tests and grade levels. Graph paper for grade 6 and above for math test. And then Zoom after the last test for each subject so that they can show you that they are destroying their scratch paper. HSTs can use 2 devices if you want to. One for the Zoom room, it can be your phone, and one for the testing interface. It also works within your laptop to hold both of those at the same time. If you have Zoom open, just make sure that your video is disabled, and then you can open up the testing interface and use the video in that platform. Testing can also be done with one device. You'll need to say, yes, I just did that. See, I went right into it without even reading my notes. Read the DFAs or scripts to all your students during the Zoom. If you have more than one subject testing during that same testing session, you can stagger your Zoom times. So you can invite your students at different times. If you're having your ELA at 9 o'clock. You could have them start at that and then have someone, the rest of the kiddos that are taking maybe their math test, you can have them come to your Zoom at 9:15 after you read the directions to the previous group.
Testing instructions. So these used to be called DFAs, directions for administration. Now they are called scripts. So our pro tip is to read either through the full or abridged versions, your choice, and then print and highlight the speaking parts to prepare for your test sessions. That way it's really clear what you're reading to your students. There's no hunting when we're trying to do 5 things at once. You're not losing your train of thought or anything. And we went ahead and added the links for the scripts right here for you. So once this is shared with you, you will have those all in one place.
They're in the testing checkoff sheets too, the monthly ones. Okay, so this is how to start a testing session. If you haven't already, please bookmark your CAASPP website. The step-by-step instructions for starting a test session can be found in the Canvas PD modules and also in the testing checkoff sheets. I do have those linked there. And did you know that you can schedule a test session so that you can keep your same session ID number for the whole entire week or 2 weeks that you are doing testing? And I think we're going to go ahead and demonstrate that.
Yeah.
Let's read through this version, then I'll go ahead and demonstrate it.
Okay, so scheduling a test session. This is something that is great. It eliminates the need. I know every year I'm holding up a whiteboard during my Zoom each morning to show what that morning's session ID number is, and this eliminates that. You can give the test session number to your families ahead of time. If you need to make changes to it, you can go in and add tests. After the fact, the test session number stays the same, so it's really helpful. And you just do that right in Tom's, and Debbie is going to demonstrate that for us. There is also a module in the Canvas modules that will show the screenshots for this. So you don't have to memorize exactly what Debbie's going to do, but this way, after you see her demonstrating it, it will look more familiar to you. Oops.
That's right. Can you let me share my screen, please?
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Let's see, what do I want? I want this one. Okay, so you're going to go to the CAASPP LPAC website. You're going to log in, and of course, I get logged out. You're going to choose your role. Oh, this is not where I wanted to go. Sorry, guys. See, I make mistakes. Remember I said that earlier? Uh, okay, we're here. We made it. I'm sorry. Little detour we had. So you can go ahead and do upcoming sessions. You can schedule a remote session. So make sure that you're not choosing the schedule a session because that is the in-person one. You're going to schedule a remote session. You're going to put in the dates that you want. So I'm going to go ahead and just choose this one. And I'm going to go through the 30th and I'm going to click next. So whatever dates that you guys want to use, you can go ahead and do that. Click next. This is where you're going to choose your summative assessments or the science test. If you want all of them, I'm not going to choose all of them for this demonstration, but I'm just going to choose one, and that's the ones that I'm going to do. If you forget one, once you start a test session, you can add it at any time. So don't have a freak out moment. We're okay. You can still add it later. There is documentation and Google Docs on a step-by-step on how to add tests during a test session. So I'm just going to add one for right now. I like naming my session name, my last name, and then the dates that I'm going to be using that. So I'm going to do 4/20 through 4/20. what did I do? 424, 430. That's how I personally like to label it. And then you're going to save your session. Oh, sorry. Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay, guys. I'm naming it just me. This will be your SSID for the whole entire 2 weeks or whatever dates that you choose. So you can copy this, you can add it to your calendar. You will be able to get to this later after this screen. So I'm just going to go ahead and say copy. Here it is. So once you are in, then you log back in and you go to your upcoming sessions. This is where you share your link. The next time that you log in on that testing day, it's not allowing me to because this is in the future. It's not today. It will tell you to join. So you'll have a button right here that says join. You will join that, and that is where you'll have that testing session. Okay. Let's go back to our slides.
All right. Oops. Okay. Oops, sorry, my toolbar's in the way now. How to add additional tests to a session. When you are in a test session, you can easily add additional test sessions. And this applies to whether or not you pre-scheduled your tests or whether you're going through where you're creating a unique test session number each day. You just go into the select tests option and add the tests in. And then you want to add to the operational session. And so, you might forget one, or you might have a student who you think, oh, all they're going to do today is finish the ELA CAT. And that student says, no, I'd like to start my performance task. Okay, let me add that in for you. And that's really easy to do while you're in there.
And then the last thing I want to highlight is just making sure that you are staying on top of your test monitoring. So these are sent out by our lovely organizers that we have for each of our teams. Once the student has completed each test during the day, go ahead and check that box when they completed it. And then your organizer will go in and they will verify that it has been completed. And then I also have my test completion sheet that I share with you that has every single student broken up by teacher on teams on the tabs at the bottom. And you can verify that the reports that I'm pulling daily reflect that their test was completed and they are indeed done with testing for that. And it has been submitted in the TOM system. Please make sure that you check out the very first tab for the instructions on that completion sheet because the wording has changed. It used to be reported was the final end all be all. That's the word that we wanted to see. They have changed that to completed now. They have also added hand scoring and also scored. So once, if something needs to be hand scored, the state goes ahead and completes that. And once they have completed it, then it will change to scored. So those are the two things that we want to see. We want to see completed, or if it needed to be hand scored, the final is scored. So make sure that you read those instructions and the vocabulary on that very first page. And I think that's it.
Yes. So as we said, we do have some read-only slides. They have some great information in there. And we have an exit survey there for you.
This is
So
also how
thank
we
you.
take attendance. So please make sure that you do fill out the exit survey. So at this time, I'm going to go ahead and stop recording so that we can answer any questions that you guys might have.